Hello everyone, today I'm going to be ranking Mariah Carey's album covers. If you would like to skip right to my ranking, I will have a timestamp on the screen right here to where you guys can go to. And now let's get into a couple quick disclaimers. Number one, this is just my personal opinion. I would love to hear yours down below, just keep it respectful please. Sorry for any background noise or dust particles that may occur throughout this video. I'm going to be reading off my phone as I always do. This is just my opinions on the album covers. I've already ranked the albums themselves and I will have a card on the screen right here to where you guys can go and check that out. I'm not going to be ranking all of her album covers like number ones, for example, even though I do love the album cover. I'm just going to be sticking with her studio albums. Lastly, if I have any notes that I forget to add, check down below. I might have a pinned comment. And let's get into it. At number 15, I have Me, I Am Mariah, the Elusive Chanteuse. I think that this is just a mediocre album cover. Don't care for the picture too much. I'm pretty sure that there's like some photoshopping going on here, and I don't think that that was necessary for the record. If I am wrong, please let me know down below in the comments. I think that the orange aesthetic is definitely fitting for the album for sure. Just never really cared for this album cover very much. Don't even get me started on the deluxe cover because somehow it's even worse. I've seen some outtakes that I think would have made a nice cover, but yeah, it's kind of there, and it's a shame because I think it's a great album. I think it deserves something a little bit better, but that's my personal opinions there. And now on to number 14, which is going to be E equals MC squared. So this is just a mid-album cover to me. Never really cared for it too much. And I think the problem with this album cover is that it's trying too hard to basically be like the Emancipation Mimi Part 2, which is essentially what the album is kind of trying to do, and it doesn't really succeed, that in my personal opinion, though I think it's a great album. But going back to the album cover, I think that the colorway does match for the album, but one thing I don't really care for on it particularly is the fact that her name is just slapped at the bottom in this like pink and purple text. I just think that it looks tacky. This album cover just kind of feels like lazy to me. And now to number 13, which is going to be Emotions. I think that the colorway for this album, absolutely immaculate, fits so well once again. I just don't really care for the picture. Like, this looks like something that you could maybe use for promo. It doesn't give album cover to me. I've seen some outtakes. Why didn't we go with those? Why did we choose this one? I will never know these things. Another thing that really bothers me with this album cover is the way that the text is placed on there. So her name on there, that's fine. The real beef that I have with it is Emotions. Like, it looks like they forgot to put the album title on it and they just added it at the last minute. Because why is it a different font? It just looks so cheap. That's the thing that gets me with this album cover. Like I said, the colorway, absolutely immaculate. It perfectly matches that. But everything else about this cover just kind of ruins it for me. I do not get this one at all. Now on to number 12, which is going to be Daydream. So they basically just zoomed in on the photo that was used for the fantasy single. I think that that's a great photo, by the way. I just think that it looks better zoomed out, and I would not have minded if they would have used that photo for the cover instead and just chose something different for the fantasy single, but this is what we ended up getting. I just think that we should have went with something different for this album cover. I mean, this is one of her best albums. It has critical acclaim. The fans love it so much for a bunch of different reasons. Just amazing. And I feel like we just deserve something a little bit better, something a little bit more interesting, something a little bit more eye-catching there. I will say that I think that the colorway is excellent. I think it matches really well with the album sonically and everything. I think it's cool there. And I really do like the orange text on the album cover. I thought that that was a nice touch. At number 11, I'm going to have Music Box. I think that the album cover for this one is alright. It's grown on me a little bit with time, and in retrospect, she definitely has worse album covers, at least in my opinion. I do think that this album cover is too zoomed in. I saw the zoomed out picture, which definitely looks nice, and I'm pretty sure that is for the South Korea version of this album. I think that that looks a lot better. I wouldn't have minded if they would have went with that one. Or there was this photo that I'm pretty sure was used for the tour promotion, which I really liked as well. I really like the colorway. I do think that it works perfectly with the album there. But yeah, we definitely should have had a different album cover. But I think for what we have and the vibe of the album, everything, I don't really mind it too much. Just not one of my favorites there, and I blame the label for doing this because we could have got something better, but it kind of is what it is. Now on to number 10, which is going to be Charm Bracelet. So I think that the colorway fits decently for the album. It's exactly what I would imagine listening to all of these songs and everything. But again, this is a picture that's too zoomed in. I saw the zoomed up picture. I don't really care for it that much either. I think that she looks fine in the picture, for the record. Of course, I think Mariah is a beautiful person. This is absolutely no hate or anything. It's just like my personal opinion there and like what fits the vibe with the album, as I was stating earlier. So that's definitely something that I wanted to have there. But I think whenever you see like the photo shoot for this album and every other picture that they could have went with, why didn't they do that? I was just thinking about this and I'm like, maybe they chose to do it zoomed in just because, like, you know, we have Music Box and Daydream, for example. Maybe it was like a nod to that and I thought people would be more likely to buy the album. I honestly don't know what the rationale was for that decision. They just really fumbled the bag on this album cover. I really like the text for this album cover as well. And now on to number 9, which is going to be Memoirs of an Imperfect Angel. So I think that the white aesthetic for this album works nicely. I like the text on the album cover once again. And something else I wanted to say is that the text on like most of her album covers is great. I like that that's the font that they chose to go with. I think that it's fitting. I think that it looks really nice. So that aspect of it is something that I've always really appreciated. And I think that this is a fun album cover. I feel like it really matches the vibe of the album in terms of like the lyrics, and there's something that you like laugh at in a good way. And like I said, they're kind of corny, but she's able to pull it off in songs like About My Face, for example. That line about the Harvard graduating class, like that line is just hilarious, and so I just really enjoy it. And so I just think that it works well for the album. I know a lot of people don't really care for it, you know, the 3 different pictures and all, but I've honestly always really liked this one. Just so fitting and playful and just really matches everything perfectly. And now on to number 8, which is going to be Glitter. I think that this is a cute album cover. It has something that's so lighthearted about it, and I think that it definitely matches with what she was trying to go for on the album. I think that she looks great on here. I really like the colorway for this as well. And now on to number 7, which is going to be Merry Christmas to You. So I love this album cover. I appreciate the attention to detail. We have that little snowman in the back. I just love all the colors that are going on all throughout it. And this has just always been one that I have thought was just marvelous. I know a lot of people don't care for it, but it is what it is. That's my personal opinions there. And so I really like the text on this album cover once again, just kind of paying a nod to the first Christmas album, which is an attention to detail that I always really appreciated there. I think that she looks fantastic on here too. Feels really festive, and I think that it works really well with the album. Now on to number 6, which is going to be her debut album. I know that Mariah doesn't really care too much for this album cover. I'm pretty sure she said something about them like photoshopping her teeth or like doing some editing on that and whatever. But for whatever reason, I've always really liked this one. And I just think that there's something like so enchanting about it, so like fierce about it. I just think that it's so simple in the best way, and that it was really fitting for her debut album. The hair looks great, and so I just always really appreciated this one. And now on to number 5, which is going to be Merry Christmas. So I think that this is a beautiful album cover. She said that she was freezing getting this done because she was actually out in the snow, and that is not photoshopped like a lot of people would think. And I definitely think that all of that paid off as well. There is an outtake that I really liked, and I would not have minded if they would have went with that for the cover, but I still think that the standard one is great. And I think that it just works really well for the album. I love the colorway, really simple with the white and the red, and then she looks amazing on there as well. And then it's just something that feels so inviting, it feels so cozy, which is exactly how I feel listening to this album, and just something fitting for one of the best Christmas albums of all time. My personal favorite Christmas album of all time, by the way. I also really love the text on the album cover as well. Nicely done. And now on to number 4, which is going to be The Emancipation of Mimi. This just feels so luxurious. I really love the colorway with the black and the gold, and just the way that her name is like right in the middle of the album. I think that everything really fits nicely there. And I just think that this is one of her most iconic album covers, one of her more notable ones. And people really counted her out after Glitter and Charm Bracelet, and she came back with this album and she did exactly what she had to do. Records were broken, hit after hit after hit on this album. Just something so fitting for a legendary comeback. The best comeback of all time in my opinion. And I feel like a lot of times people don't understand what a comeback is. Like people have said, it's not you finish an era successfully and then you take a break and then you start the new era with all this anticipation. It's whenever your music is not well received, people are counting you out and they think that your career is over, which is what happened to her, and she was able to prove them wrong. As I have said before, I prefer the ultra platinum edition of this cover. I just think that the pose is better. I like the dress better. I think that it fits a little bit more with what she was trying to do on the album and everything. But this cover is pretty iconic. Again, it's one of her more notable covers, so I feel like I had to have it in top 5 for sure. And now on to number 3, which is going to be Rainbow. I think that this is such a fun album cover. As I said before, the Rainbow album reminds me of youth, the beach. It's a really fun album to listen to. If you've watched my channel long enough, you know that I am a Rainbow apologist. Love that album very, very much. And I really love how colorful that the album cover is, and kind of like the juxtaposition between like the white behind her and then the rainbow was painted on her, and then you also have like her name and like a bunch of different colors as well. And I like that it just has Mariah on there because she really earned that distinction at that point with hit after hit after hit and all of the stuff that she was accomplishing there. So I really like that as well, and just very vibrant, and so I just really love this album cover very much. She looks incredible as well. She's smiling on the cover, which is nice, and then you also have the blonde hair, which I love, and then the little hair clip. As I said before, that's always a little detail that I really appreciated about the Rainbow era, and the Rainbow era is definitely underrated in my personal opinion. I just think that it's a really fitting album cover, feels like summer. Now on to number 2, which is going to be Caution. Just a stunning album cover. She looks excellent on here, and I really love the colorway with like the blue and the pink as well. It just fits so nicely for the album, and the little earring is a nice touch as well. I love that there's no text on this album cover, and she just ate. Now on to number 1, which is going to be Butterfly. I think that this is just a top tier album cover all around. I really love the colorway. I think that it fits in really well with the album, and it's just absolutely beautiful there. And then I also really love, you know, the gold text on the side. I thought that that was a nice touch. And then, of course, she looks absolutely immaculate on there. The hair, just like the way that that was able to come together, blows my mind every single time. I really appreciate the attention to detail there, and it just looks perfect. And then I also really love the butterfly added on as well. And then that chain that she's wearing around her waist. The outfit is really cool too. I just think that this album cover is a work of art. I really appreciate all the attention to detail added to it, and I feel like this is a big step up from her previous album covers, and just something that's so distinctive and just incredible overall. Something I wanted to state really quickly is someone posted the album cover on Twitter recently, and they said they didn't notice this piece of hair that she had. I think it was like by her collarbone or something. And then I looked at that and I'm like, you know, I didn't notice that either. And then I'm like, I don't know how I would not have noticed it. I've looked at the album cover many times over, and so that's definitely a detail that I wanted to state there. But just what an immaculate album cover for her best album, in my personal opinion. That is going to be my ranking of her album covers for the studio albums. Again, if I would have included like number 1s, for example, that would have been very high up on my list. I think that that album cover is just magnificent to look at. I kind of like that it's in black and white. I just think it's like a power pose there. So I always really like that album cover, for example. And I'm going to have a ranking recap on the screen right next to me, just going over everything. And this is just how I'm feeling now. Of course, over time, my opinions can change, but this is just how I'm feeling at this moment. I would love to know how you guys would rank these album covers down below in the comments, and like your rationale and everything, so definitely leave a comment if you would like. And then if you would like to see more videos on Mariah, I will have a card on the screen right here to where you guys can go to, and just taking you to everything I've done at this point. And of course, I will be doing another video on her next month. I'm kind of torn between a few different ideas, so I don't know what I'm going to do at this moment in time, but I will definitely have another one coming out, so stay tuned to see what I'm going to do there. But that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, give it a like down below. It really helps me out in the YouTube algorithm. I very much appreciate it. You can subscribe right down below if you want to see more videos like this. If you hit the bell, you get a notification to your phone whenever I post, so you not miss when new videos come out. The first link down below in the description will be my second channel. If you want to see more of me, hit me up on there. I'm really hoping in the next week or so to be back on there and everything, so definitely stay tuned for that. But if you want to see more of me, hit me up on there. Also going to have my Twitter, my Instagram, my Spotify if you'd like to follow me. I'll leave a link to stream Mariah's music if you're interested. And lastly, I will have links to educate you guys on important situations. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one.